Well, folks, I did it again. I bought something else I probably shouldn't have. I got another motorcycle. What we have here is a 1999 Softail Night Train, abbreviation FXSTB. Now this one is obviously not stock. The handlebars have been changed, the headlights been changed, the exhaust has been changed, the cover, solid back wheel, powder coated, and they've added this front fender to it. And you can see it's real low clearance, and obviously the paint's a little bit different. You got powder coated front wheel and lowers, LaPera seat, and you got different like pegs and controls and stuff. Standard stuff everybody changes. Let's talk about what we're going to do to this. Now, any of you that have ever tuned in and watched me know I can't leave anything alone. Well, I haven't had a motorcycle in about 8-9 years, something like that. And the last bike I had was a 95 Softail Custom. I modified it, I enjoyed riding it, I liked the bike overall, so I stuck with that. This being a 99, it's the last year of the Evo in the Softail. They ran the Evo one more year in certain models in 2000, but then you switched over to your twin cam 88. I just like the Evos. I'm familiar with them. I like the way they perform. They look fine. I've got no complaints. It's also carbureted and a 5-speed transmission, which I'm fine with as well. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to change out the exhaust. While this header 2-into-1 setup works just fine, it's not the look I'm going for. I like a more traditional staggered shotgun style setup. I got no problems with the rear fender, no problems with the seat. We are going to take this factory taillight out and we're going to relocate and do a side mount and put a Model A light on there because I like those as well. Probably going to find a different air cleaner, and we're going to clean up these handlebars a little bit. I've never been a big fan of the factory mirrors upside down. While it does work and it's a cheap option, it's not my favorite. So we're going to switch it out and just put one round mirror under there or an oval shaped mirror, not sure yet. We're also going to get rid of that front fender because I like the way they look without it. The front fender on these is just held on with 4 bolts. Pretty simple. There's an Allen head in here, 1/4 inch. And then you've got a acorn nut on the inside, use a 1/2 inch wrench. Next up, let's talk about 2 other things that I feel are a necessity, but minor, and you can make them look cool at the same time. First things first, I needed some kind of saddlebag. I hate having just a small H-bag on the front. It's really not enough to hold gloves and glasses and your registration and whatever else you may need to carry in there, your cell phone or something. So I like these bags. These are made to mount to the swing arm on the Softail, and they are tapered in the same angles as the swing arm, so they look a little more sleek, not so bulky, and they're pretty easy to install. It's just 3 straps, 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. Not very expensive. They're about 60 or 70 bucks for a decent one. The other thing is the taillight. Now, there's nothing wrong with this taillight. It functions just fine. Somebody's cut the bottom of it off so it doesn't look so cheap and bulky, but I like when they're down here, down by the axle. And on my last bike I built, I did a license plate mount off the axle and I put a Model A Ford tail lamp on it, and I really liked the way it looked. A little bit of old school, but still really functional, especially if it has an LED in it. So we're going to do that. Now typically I would have made the bracket, but for the purpose of this video, we purchased one showing you that you can do this without having a welder or a cutoff wheel or things like that. The bracket is pretty easy to install, can be mounted horizontal or vertical, and it only costs about 25 bucks. Same thing for the taillight, runs you about $25. All right, so pretty simple. You've got your bracket. Now, this has holes in it here and here for the tab that goes around your axle. This down here is going to be our taillight mount. Now, we can mount it down low or we can mount it high. I do like the way it looks higher, and it's also going to be a little more visible to traffic behind you. So we're going to go ahead and bolt this together with the provided hardware and get it ready to go on, and then we're going to take our axle nut loose and slide it on there and get it mounted. All right, we got the taillight hooked up. We're going to go ahead and turn it on and show you how it works. There's our running light and brakes. Simple enough, nice and bright. It still has incandescent bulbs in it right now, but for pretty cheaply, you can just pop LED bulbs in that go in the same socket. Probably less than 20 bucks for a pair of nice ones. Another common thing you'll see on a lot of Harleys is guys take the factory mirrors that commonly come up like this, and they flip them around like this one and mount them down. This gives it a better look so you don't have this big ugly mirror hanging up here. But in a lot of states, you do have to have 1 or 2 mirrors. When you flip the mirror upside down like this, all you really see is your armpit or your shoulder. So it's not really functional. It's just there to be within the law. So we're going to get rid of these big oblong mirrors, and we're going to put some smaller, more discreet ones on there, and probably just put 1 on there, even though we're supposed to have 2. The hell with it. We got the old mirror off. These mirrors were just some cheap China-made ones that I found on eBay. I think they're like 20 bucks. The cool thing about it, though, is the way it's designed, you can put the mirror up and down in different positions, and you have a set screw on the back here you tighten up with the provided Allen. All right, we got our grips on. Now, I didn't show this in the video. This side's pretty easy. You just unbolt this, clamp it, slide a new one on, clamp it down. This side, however, involves taking your throttle cables loose, and I do it my way. I don't do it the right way, so I'm not going to show you how I did that. You can Google it and find out. We're going to do the exhaust next. Now, I am cool with the black, but I don't like the look of this, and I really don't like the sound of it. So we're going to change it out for some standard drag pipes and wrap them like that and see how it goes. Well, not everything goes as planned. For instance, we're doing the exhaust here and the factory bracket that mounts back there. Well, the previous owner modified it, so we're going to have to modify it. I was trying to make this process a good example of how to bolt stuff on. Now, if your bracket is not modified, you can just bolt these exhaust pipes on. If it is modified, you're going to either have to fix one or you're going to have to buy a new one. Well, we found a temporary seat to hold us over for our passenger. I want to make sure that Jacqueline's comfortable on the bike while she's riding with me without sacrificing too much cool. I don't really like this gap in here. This one's not made to go with this seat, but it'll hold us over for now till we find something different. Next, we're going to talk about the header wrap. Couple things I need to warn you about. Wear gloves. Wear long sleeves if you can, obviously, too. This stuff gets in the air and it starts itching and scratching. Some people like to pre-soak this with water to keep the dust down. That does work. You can wrap them on the bike or you can wrap them off the bike. It's completely up to you. Just take your time, try to keep your wraps nice and even, and try to keep them tight, constantly tightening it up. If you don't want to use the zip tie looking metal stainless steel clamps that come with most of these kits, go to your local home improvement store and get just stainless steel screw clamps. That works just fine too. Overall, the header wrap turned out really good. Not only is it a cool look, it's also got some function to it because it'll keep the heat down a little bit more than regular heat shields. Also, cheaper exhaust like we put on here is known to turn colors after a while from the heat, kind of get blue or even rust in some spots. This will help keep that covered up. There you go. The exhaust sounds way better, in my opinion. Some guys, some gals, they might like the 2-into-1 sound. I just don't. I like it a little more traditional. I like that growl when you let off. Here's the part that I messed up. We forgot to talk about jetting the carburetor. Well, I assume the previous owner had jetted the carburetor, so that's why I didn't really go into detail. I was wrong. It was not jetted correctly at all. In fact, when I went to go test drive it, it got so hot on the exhaust that it discolored the header wrap towards the cylinder heads. Some of you may have noticed that. It's not a big deal. I don't really take care too much about it enough to re-wrap them. But now we got a number 50 in on our slow jet and it is running top notch. The heat is back down, the bike's smooth, the exhaust sounds amazing. Lesson learned. Don't trust what somebody did before you. Always double check it. That's going to wrap it up on the Softail project for now. We did some cool modifications, well, I think they're cool, to do in your shop, at home, in your garage, in your buddy's garage, in your kitchen. I've worked on bikes before in the kitchen. It works just fine. Just make sure nobody's home that's going to get mad. These things were small things that you can do to your bike to set you apart and make you look a little bit different than the guy or gal next to you. There's nothing wrong with looking the same if you want to keep your bike stock. I just prefer to modify them a little bit. Now, in the future, we got another video coming up. We're going to install a foot clutch kit. Previously, when I had bikes with foot clutch and jockey shift or tank side shift, I made the kits myself. They worked fine, they looked fine, but I found a bolt-on kit for the most part, and we're going to try it out. We're going to see how it goes. So stay tuned for that future video. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions about anything I did, feel free to comment below. Email me at greasyboycustoms@gmail.com. Also, feel free to comment below and tell me what you would have done if this was your bike, what you would like to do to your bike, or what you'd like to see me do to it differently. Within reason. I'm not a paint and body guy. I don't paint, I spray paint. So don't ask me to repaint the bike. And it's a night train, you got to keep it black, right? Until next time, happy hot rodding or motorcycling, whatever. Later.